We are live.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as you're able and join me in welcoming the City Council and the playing of the national anthem and the reading of the invocation.
If you please remain standing if you're able while I read the invocation to begin the August Council meeting. As we come together today, we recognize the great responsibilities laid upon us. Our council will always strive to understand the needs of the people we serve and to use power wisely and well. Our purpose is to establish and maintain a city of prosperity and righteousness, where freedom prevails and where justice rules. We acknowledge the rich history of this land, which includes the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples. Today, there are many First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples who live or work in the city. The intent of this acknowledgement is to recognize our responsibility to use and take care of these lands responsibly and respectfully, while remembering the generations past and considering the generations yet to come. We respect and ask to seek to continue to promote the longstanding relationships with the area's First Nations, the Six Nations of the Grand River First Nation, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Indigenous peoples who reside within the city of Brantford. Let us also not forget those who've served our community and who are no longer with us, so we can continue to do the work that we must in their memory. Please be seated. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councillor Van Tilborg.
Here.
Councillor Carpenter.
Here.
Councillor Slutz.
Present.
Councillor McCreary.
Here.
Councillor Sullivan.
Present.
Councillor Samwell.
Here.
Councillor Hunt.
Present.
Councillor Martin.
Here.
Councillor Caputo.
Present.
Councillor Sokoli.
Here.
And Mayor Davis.
Here.
Through the chair, roll call's been taken.
All right. Does any member of council have a pecuniary interest they need to declare regarding any item on tonight's agenda? If so, please raise your hand. I believe, Councillor McCreary, you have a conflict.
You believe correctly, Mayor. My conflict pertains to 12.2.5, and it refers to a company which serves as my legal counsel.
So just to confirm, 12.2.5, right? Any other conflicts? Seeing none. So now we'll deal with the items that members would like separated. We have two that are already separated. One, because of the conflict Councillor McCreary just declared, 12.2.5, the Downtown Facade and Safety Improvement Grant Program application. And also 12.2.3, which is Bill 5 and Bill 17, legislative updates and impacts of Brantford, because we have two delegations. So are there any other items that are contained in the committee reports that anyone wants separated for discussion purposes? Seeing no, and raise hands. All right, we'll move into, if I can have a motion then to approve all the items in the committee reports that are not separated for discussion purposes. Who has that resolution? Councillor Hunt.
Thank you, Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Carpenter, that all items contained within the committee reports, items 12.1 to 12.2, not separated for discussion purposes, be approved.
Through the chair, the following items are subject to the vote from the Committee of the Whole Operations Report, the August 5th meeting, 12.11 Airport Board Report, 12.12 North Brantford Tula Heights Subwatershed Study, 12.13 Possible Changes to Blue Box Collection Regulations, from the August 12th Committee of the Whole Planning Administration Report, 12.21 Lane Closing and Conveyance behind 1915 and 13 Strand Avenue, 12.22 Demolition of Detached Garage Potential Remedies to the designated dwelling at 135 Sydenham Street, 12.24 Brantford 2050 City Vision, 12.26 Grayfield CIP Commercial Facade Landscaping and Activity Improvement Grants, 904 Colborne Street, 12.27 Proposed Purchasing Policy Amendments, 12.28 Fire Station Number 1 Chemical Pit, 12.29 Town and Gown Advisory Committee Report, 12.210 Application for Bell Telecommunication Tower, 129 Sharon Cross, 12.211 Training and Planning Program for Potential City Councilors, 12.212 Parkside Subdivision Agreement Amendments, and 12.213 Advocacy for Provincial Scrap Metal Legislation and Bail System Reform. All items not separated for discussion purposes carries unanimously on recorded votes of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councilors Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel Carpenter, Martin Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So we don't have any statutory public hearings tonight, but we do have a recognition of achievement that we'd like to make this evening. And I'd ask that Adam Ship and Xander Rivers, members of the Park Patrol team, if you please come up. And I'm also going to ask Councillor Martin if you would mind going down to actually present the certificates while I read why we're doing this. So this is the portion of our council meeting where we recognize members of our community that have achieved something of significance that should be recognized. And we're very lucky to have Adam and Xander, who are a member of the city's park patrollers. And we're recognizing them because there's actually a story to be told. On Tuesday, July the 8th at approximately 9:49, Adam and Xander, part of the Park Patrol team, they're informed by Brantford Police Service Officer Paul, a canine handler, about a missing teenager in the downtown area. Given the circumstances, there were serious concerns for the young person's safety. Patrol officers, a canine unit, and a drone had all been deployed to assist in the search. Adam and Xander were provided with a photo and a description of the missing teenager and immediately joined the effort. At around 10 p.m. near Victoria Park, Adam and Xander located the young person, who was in a very vulnerable state and accompanied by a confrontational male. Acting calmly and decisively, Adam and Xander created space to ensure the teen's safety, confirmed our identity, and connected quickly with nearby police officers, enabling her to be brought to safety and transported to the Brantford General Hospital for care. Because of their alertness, quick thinking, and commitment to public safety, Adam Ship and Xander Rivers were instrumental in reuniting a young person with the protection and support she needed at a critical moment in her life. On behalf of the city of Brantford, it is my honor to commend and thank Adam and Xander for their bravery, their professionalism, and dedication to keeping our community safe. Please join me in recognizing Adam and Xander. And good luck, Adam and Xander, as you move forward in your careers. So we will now move on to proclamations. We have 6 proclamations on tonight's agenda. Councillor Samuel, if you please move all the proclamations, state your seconder, and please read the first one, proclamation 8.1.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Van Silberg that the following proclamations be approved. 8.1 International Overdose Awareness Day, August 31st, 2025. 8.2 Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, September 2025. 8.3 FASD Awareness Day, Monday, September 9th, 2025. 8.4 World Suicide Prevention Day, September 10th, 2025. 8.5 Welcome Week, September 12th, 21-25. And 8.6 Culture Days, September 19th to October 8th, or October 12th, 2025. And with that, International Overdose Awareness Day, August 31st. Whereas the world's largest annual campaign to end overdose and remember without stigma those who have died and acknowledge the grief of the family and friends that are left behind. Whereas the goals of International Overdose Awareness Day are to provide the opportunity for people to publicly mourn loved ones, tell people who use drugs and people in recovery that they are valued, inform people around the world about the risks of drug overdose, provide basic information on the range of supports and services that are available, and prevent and reduce drug-related harms by supporting evidence-based practice. And whereas this IOAD, we affirm that when we work together to heal and empower communities, we can save lives and end overdose. Now, therefore, it be resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims August 31st International Overdose Awareness Day, and by doing so, joins the thousands of other North America and United Kingdom and Europe to acknowledge that as a worldly community in 2025, we are experiencing losses together and we are one big family driven by hope. Thank you.
Councillor Sullivan, if you'd read proclamation 8.2, please.
Absolutely. Whereas childhood cancer remains the leading cause of disease-related death among children in Canada and around the world, and whereas each year more than 10,000 children in North America are diagnosed with cancer, and 1,000 more around the world face similar life-altering news, and whereas ongoing research and clinical trials have led to significant advances in treatment and survival rates, but much work remains to ensure every child has a chance at a full and healthy life. And whereas families, caregivers, healthcare professionals, and researchers all play vital roles in the lives of children with cancer, offering strength, care, and hope every step of the way. And whereas Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is an opportunity to honor the children fighting cancer, remember those we have lost, and support the search for better treatments, increased funding, and ultimately a cure. And whereas raising awareness helps to foster understanding, compassion, and action in our communities, and encourages ongoing efforts to improve outcomes for all children affected by this disease. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims September 2025 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Brantford.
And Councillor Scully, if you'd read proclamation 8.3.
Sure can. Whereas fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, FASD, is a diagnostic term describing the lifelong impacts on the brain and body of individuals exposed to alcohol before birth. And whereas prenatal alcohol exposure is the leading known cause of developmental disability in Canada. And whereas, although the exact number of people with FASD is unknown, current research estimates that at least 4% of the Canadian population may be affected, meaning that in a city like Brantford with a population of 98,000 people, approximately 3,920 individuals could be living with FASD. And whereas FASD is a complex disability with a broad range of effects, and individuals with FASD often require support from across healthcare, education, social services, and justice systems. And whereas the estimated annual cost of FASD to Canadian society is approximately $5.3 billion, highlighting the importance of prevention and support. And whereas nearly half of all pregnancies are unplanned, which can result in unintentional prenatal alcohol exposure, underscoring the importance of accessible, stigma-free information and support for all individuals who could become pregnant. And whereas there is no known safe amount, no safe type, and no safe time to consume alcohol during pregnancy. And whereas community members, service providers, and policymakers in Brantford have an essential role in fostering awareness, providing respectful and non-judgmental care, and supporting healthy pregnancies and individuals with FASD. And whereas since 1999, people around the world have recognized September 9th as International FASD Awareness Day, a date chosen to reflect the importance of alcohol-free pregnancies across the 9 months of gestation. And whereas the City of Brantford has formally recognized FASD Awareness Day since 2018. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford proclaims Monday, September 9th, 2025 as FASD Awareness Day in the City of Brantford and encourages all residents to learn more about FASD and support efforts to promote prevention, understanding, and inclusion.
Thank you. Councillor Van Tilburg, you read proclamation 8.4.
World Suicide Prevention Day, September 10th, 2025. Whereas World Suicide Prevention Day is a time to join with others across the world to declare our commitment to preventing suicide, to spread the message that healing is possible and that there is always hope and a helping hand and that no one faces these challenges alone. And whereas each death by suicide directly impacts numerous family members, friends, loved ones, and by extension, the entire community, every day, approximately 11 people end their lives by suicide in Canada. Another 210 will attempt suicide. For each death by suicide, it is estimated that the lives of 7 to 10 bereaved survivors are profoundly affected. And whereas suicidal thoughts can affect anyone, regardless of age, gender, race, orientation, income level, religion, or background, and whereas the stigma associated with suicide works against suicide prevention by discouraging individuals thinking about suicide from receiving life-saving help, and further traumatizes survivors of suicide. And whereas suicide is highly preventable tragedy, awareness and open and direct talk about suicide is the key to making Brantford and Brant County suicide safer communities. Individuals and communities can work together to help prevent suicide by becoming aware of the warning signs and the risk factors and knowing where to get help for individuals in distress. And whereas we wish to honor and thank those who have given their time to receive formal suicide prevention training and who have reached out to someone in their time of need, and to those who join us now to stand together beside those who have attempted suicide and have died by suicide and feel the effects every day, we stand with you to say you are not alone and that the Brantford Brant community is here for you. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims September 10th, 2025 as Suicide Prevention Day and strongly encourage all members of our community to become educated, take all signs of suicide seriously, and encourage conversations about mental health in order to break the stigma and promote hope and help to everyone in our community.
And Councillor Curry, if you'd read the next proclamation 8.5.
Mayor, thank you. Yes. Whereas Welcoming Week observed from September 12 through 21 invites us to reaffirm our commitment to creating inclusive communities where diversity is celebrated and every resident, regardless of background, feels a sense of belonging. And whereas the City of Brantford recognizes the profound strength that comes from embracing our differences and similarities, choosing connection, courage, and love over division, fear, and hate. And whereas Brantford supports cultural diversity through its ongoing collaboration with the Brantford Immigration Partnership, a network of community organizations dedicated to fostering inclusion, supporting immigrant and refugee residents, and building community resilience. And whereas Woodview Mental Health and Autism Services plays a vital role in promoting mental health, neurodiversity, and well-being across our city and is actively engaged in efforts that reflect the values of Welcoming Week, helping individuals feel supported, feel seen, and empowered. And whereas as a member of UNESCO's Coalition of Inclusive Municipalities, the City of Brantford is committed to building a more inclusive community through initiatives and community partnerships that align with the city's One Brantford Inclusive City strategy. And whereas Welcoming Week provides an opportunity to strengthen social bonds, encourage civic engagement, and cultivate spaces where newcomers and longtime residents alike can find common ground, share their unique stories, and grow together. Now therefore be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims the week of September 12 through 21, 2025 as Welcoming Week in the City of Brantford, and invites all residents, businesses, organizations, and institutions to join us in celebrating our shared humanity and building a future grounded in respect, inclusion, and community.
Thank you. We'll move on to the last proclamation. Councillor Caputo, I think you've got that one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Cultural Days. Whereas cultural participation and activity enriches and defines the identity of Brantford, serves as a mechanism of resiliency and recovery, and improves the quality of life of its citizens. And whereas arts and cultural participation makes a vital contribution to the development and well-being of individuals and society, and whereas Brantford believes that community-based cultural celebrations enhance the connections between citizens of diverse interests, abilities, and cultures. And whereas culture arises and flourishes first locally, and whereas Brantford has already shown its intention to implement projects to reaffirm both its inclusive cultural identity and the active participation of its citizens in the cultural life of the municipality, and whereas as an annual national initiative, Cultural Days exist as a catalyst that connects individuals and creators, eliminates barriers, and stimulates understanding, appreciation, and exploration of arts, culture, and heritage, so that every individual in the country has a deeper connection with themselves, their community, and Canada. And whereas Cultural Days is a national initiative, and Brantford has been an active and long-standing participant. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims September 19th to October 12th as Culture Days in Brantford.
Thank you. So that concludes all the proclamations. We'll now call the vote on the 6 proclamations.
The proclamations are approved. Recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows. Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so we have 2 registered delegations this evening. Prior to hearing the delegations and calling you forward, because I see you're here present in the audience, I'd like to remind you that we do have certain rules of decorum that I have to read, and these are as set out in the city's procedural bylaw. So no person shall display any sign, banner, or placard in the meeting room other than materials that, in the opinion of the chair, are legitimate audiovisual aids necessary in connection with any presentation to be made to council. All persons present shall use polite and respectful language and shall refrain from the use of any language or the making of any gesture that is disrespectful or offensive. All persons addressing council shall speak only on the subject in debate and shall not speak on any other subject, and no person shall applaud participants in debate or engage in a conversation or behavior that may disrupt the proceedings of the meeting. So we do have 2 delegates this evening. Our first delegate is Wilfred Davey from Men's Fire, and you would like to speak, Wilfred, understand Bill 5 and Bill 17, the resolution 12.2.3. So you have 10 minutes to make your presentation inclusive of any questions members may have, and we welcome you. We've got it on for you.
Okay, looks good. I have here a document which I've downloaded from your website. And it's
I'll tell you what, Wilfred, so I take it you'd like to stand then through the presentation, which is okay. Can someone raise the table up for Wilfred so that he's
Okay.
answered?
okay.
It's much more comfortable. Yeah, the mic's not close enough, so we can bring it up by raising the table. There we go. Bring it up.
Oh my gosh,
There. See, much better.
that's more bettering.
Yep.
Okay. I have a document here which I downloaded off of your website, canada.ca. Crown Indigenous Relations and North Affairs Canada. Consultation, engagement, and the duty to consult. Consultation and engagement at Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs Canada, Government of Canada, and the duty to consult. Aboriginal and treaty rights information. The Aboriginal and Treaty Right Information System, brackets ATRIS, is a web-based geographic information system that locates and describes Indigenous nations, collective communities, organizations. It displays information pertaining to their potential or established Aboriginal or treaty right and is key in supporting the Government of Canada, Section 35, duty to consult responsibilities. The duty to consult arises when the Crown considers conduct that might adversely impact potential and established Aboriginal or treaty right to the system is regularly updated to include information derived from consultation and Indigenous communities, course decisions, and other sources. I'm here to inform this delegation of Brantford, the Corporation of Brantford, the City Council and Committee. Planning and Development. Attention County Planner and Developers. Notice to consult with the Lehuna de Skete, that is the Men's Fire. The Lehuna de Skete Men's Fire, 6 nations of the Grand River have been aware of a large development. This development is our treaty territory. It is also in the Haldimand Tract. It appears to be also under patent and leased land. Samples of lease I have here of Caledonia area, samples of patent Caledonia area I have here. Evidence of patent and lease to develop individual can be shown in the abstract. I have an abstract. Please consider this notice request to continue consultation before issuing building permits in our territory. My understanding there is that Tutuila Heights is to be developed. If that is true, there are additional information which is a conversation for another day. Missing and murdered children are still buried there. I have predominant evidence of that. I have satellite imagery, but the people have not yet executed those because they're busy in other areas. Back to this development. With that abstract, it also states that it was patented, it was leased, and the Crown held it in trust on our behalf. I haven't had a chance before tonight's meeting to do an abstract on Tutuila Heights, but I know what I'm going to find. Exactly what I found in Caledonia, exactly what I found in Temiskaming, exactly what I found all up and down the track. So with this letter, I'm presenting to you our notice to consult. The Lehuna de Skete is the Men's Fire. And I would like to present it to whomever I have to.
Yeah, staff member Wilford can,
Pardon?
we'll have the staff member pick it up for you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this developer, is he here today? No. Okay. There you go. Thank you. We haven't met any of the developers. We have not been approached by anyone. And this is age old. It's not brand new. We know the ground that I'm standing on right now is also owned by Haudenosaunee, Iroquois Confederacy, Treaty Indians. That's who we are. That's who we make up our culture. And we are Onkahomwe. Onkahomwe represents the original occupants of the soil. That has not changed. And I could go through documentation and continue to echo this. I have echoed it numerous times in tax court, and it has been successful. Section 35 is developed, is legislated, is already in position. It mandates consultation. I'm only here to reiterate Del Riley's position on that. And like I said, this meeting was too soon. Other delegates weren't able to come, so I'm speaking on their behalf. I'm only one voice. You may look at me as one voice, but I belong to the Lehuna de Skete, the men's fire, and they are many. We are all sharing the same. This land was to be shared at Plow's depth in the lease for 999 years, which has not been paid. We have not relinquished that lease, and we have not lost our patent. A patent is for life, as long as we are on planet Earth. So there's numerous things that C5 and C17 have not even looked at. And if that requires further talks, consultation, call it what you want, a visit, we can gladly explain that. We have experts. Phil Montour is an expert in global solutions, indicating, and also Lonnie Bombury is the predominant lawyer to assist with that. So reaching out, somebody says we don't know who to consult with. You have a number. I gave you a number. I gave you a contact. I will give you my contact, and we will steer you in the right direction. This is important to us. I'm at the crossroads of my age, and I have many generations that I'm speaking on behalf of who cannot be here, who have no clue what's going on. And they are oblivious to why we're even having this conversation. Because the land in Tudor Heights, we were here 5 years ago talking to you in City Hall. The tile bed that they projected was not even adequate, and we were so close to the river. It was not feasible. It then scaled back. Now it's resurrected again. I don't even know how many homes are going to be built in Tudor Heights. I don't even know the exact location of it. But all I do know is that this project is huge. It's all about money. It's all about people making money, but it's about the land. Did we forget about something? Are we eating today? You can thank me later. We got to eat. We still need farmland. We need the green belt. We're going to blow it out of proportion with all these people on there. It's not going to be, our crops are not going to grow because there'll be too many people walking on it. We won't have enough food. Well, yeah, basics just down the street. Prices are going up on a daily basis, if not hourly. Well, that's all I have to say. I'm not going to present you with the leases. I'm not going to present you with the nuts and bolts of an abstract. I'm sure you're well aware of it. Don't know exactly who to talk to here except you.
Mr. Davey, thank you very much. There may be a question or two. We're getting close to 10 minutes. I'm going to see if any members of the council have any questions for you. Yes, Councilor Kirk.
Yeah, I just have one. Thank you for coming. Wilfred, what is your mind? Would you mind us asking, what is your native name?
What is my what?
Your native name?
My native name?
Yes.
Tuna Las Luna.
La Tuna Las Luna?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Davy? Nope. I want to thank you very much for coming out tonight. I appreciate it, Mr. Davy, to provide us with this information, which,
If you have any after, you can contact me. I will leave you, my name is on here. I'll leave my card.
okay, good. Thank you very much.
If I can, if I can answer them, I will. If I. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening. I'll now call up our second delegate tonight, which is Ella Haley from Better Brant. She also would like to speak to Bill 5 and Bill 17. And as you know, Ella, you have 10 minutes to make a presentation, please.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak to council tonight. I'm part of Better Brant, and we're about a 15-year-old organization, and we work with Brantford, Brant County, and Six Nations on official plans, on planning documents. Are you trying to adjust the table? Is that what you're trying to do? Oh, okay. But we work mainly to protect farmland, natural heritage, water, to have transparent, inclusive governance at the municipal, provincial, and federal level. I'm not going to review Bill 5 very much. It's in my slide. That's slide 3. Okay, sorry. Oh, I should be clicking it, eh? Do I? Sorry. Okay. There. Okay. You're already aware. I've listened to the presentations from last week, so I know that you're aware about the special economic zones, the reduced environmental protections, the reduced consultation with Six Nations or no consultation, or sorry, with Indigenous nations, and how it affects jobs. My key remark on Bill 5 is that we're losing our environmental, labor, democratic, and Indigenous rights. It removes democratic input at the local level. It throws out environmental and labor protections, and it fails to consult with First Nations. I mean, why bother having an official plan process if the province can just come in and bypass it? Why bother having planners, local planners, planning policy? Why bother trying to participate as a group over the years with the review of the provincial planning policy, planning statement, if the province can just declare special zones are exempt? I wanted to look at the article. We had some coverage in the paper about Bill 5 and Bill C5. And Will Bauma, our MPP, made comments. So I just want to speak to his comments. He said, the Premier made the decision to seek a mandate from the people of Ontario to do what was necessary to protect Ontario from the completely unfair threats from President Donald Trump. We need to take action. We're not removing any environmental controls or any safeguards, Bauma said. What we're doing is what needs to be done in order to lay the framework for a potential decoupling from the American economy. I would argue that this does not mean that we take a race, that we doesn't mean a race to the bottom and that we throw out all of our rules, consultation process, and our labor and environmental protection. So I would disagree with Bauma on this very strongly. Bauma continues, he says, he doesn't understand the concerns locally with respect to Bill 5 and special economic zone designations. And I would say, just look down the road 2 hours away and look at Dresden. Look at the Dresden landfill. So what you have here is a statement from Mike Schreiner. He's been down with the Dresden people. He's said that he'll fight for them and defend them. Doug Ford promised Dresden residents that our proposed dump would get an environmental assessment. This is a mega dump. And now he's breaking that promise with Bill 5. If Ford can go back on his promise in Dresden, and if he can exempt a dump from an environmental assessment, then it can happen anywhere. It can happen in Brantford. I'm going to add to this. It can happen in Brantford. It can happen in Brant County. I have a YouTube video. Sorry, okay, it's been, there's a missing slide, but it's a YouTube video. So if you just wanted to search Dresden dump, Bill C5, environmental defense. You can see it's a 1-minute video about how it is affecting people just down the road. Excuse me. This last slide is about Indigenous opposition. It's speaking to both Bill 5 and Bill C5. They're quite similar, but 9 First Nations are now seeking an injunction to prevent the government from using Bill 5 and the federal Bill C5 from fast-tracking infrastructure projects. They argue that both pieces of legislation authorize the Crown to ram through projects without meaningful or any engagement with First Nations. They violate the constitutional obligation of the Crown to advance reconciliation. We say that we're committed to truth and reconciliation to the Commission. We have a land acknowledgement before each council meeting, but Premier Ford's government bills basically throws out that whole commitment to truth and reconciliation. We have a family farm. I'm 4th generation family farm. I'm a settler in Brant County. And I wanted to just acknowledge my farm group's statement. National Farmers Union of Ontario has made a statement about C5. So I just wanted to read from that. From Bill 5. In summary, Bill 5 would allow the provincial cabinet to exclude a trusted proponent or a designated project from application of democratically decided regulations and laws that were enacted by the provincial and municipal governments or administrative boards. Anyone who is injured as a result of exemptions given to proponents or projects is not allowed to sue for damages or compensation. There's no recourse to the courts for those who are harmed by the bill. It tramples treaty rights. It throws out decades of hard-fought labor, human rights, and environmental law. It throws them all into the garbage can. Treaty rights are inherent rights, and by trampling on them, it means that we punch holes in the legal fabric of Ontario and Canada as a whole. It allows the minister to unilaterally say to certain companies, go ahead with otherwise illegal activities as long as you do them within the special economic zone. It sets a precedent. It opens the door for companies and industries all across the country to lobby for special economic zones where rules would not apply to them. Bill 5 would expand and accelerate the government's power to hive off parts of Ontario to be run as private wealth extraction zones at the expense of people, land, sacred treaty relationships, and the future of Ontario. It would suspend our democracy. It would put in place an authoritarian regime determined by resource extraction corporations. It represents a slippery slope towards turning our unified nation into a patchwork of corporate fiefdoms marred by ecological destruction and human exploitation. So that's my comments for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella. We'll see if there are any questions for you. Any questions for Ella? Seeing any, I want to thank you very much, Ella, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Well, members of council, that finishes the delegations. So we'll move on to the report and communications. I believe Councillor Celeste, you have the motion to receive the clerk's report and communication.
Yes, it's moved by myself, seconded by my board mate, Councillor Caputo, that the clerk's report on communications for August 2025 be received.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
The clerk's report on communication carries unanimously and recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows. Councillors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sicoli, and Mayor Davis. Okay.
All right, so move to minutes. Understand, Councillor Sicoli, you have the motion to adopt the minutes listed in the agenda. You can state your seconder as well.
I do. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Sullivan, that the following minutes be adopted. 11.1, City Council, June 24th, 2025. 11.2, Special City Council, June 24th, 2025. And 11.3, Special City Council, Private and Confidential, June 24th, 2025.
Any errors or corrections? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
The minutes carried unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows. Councilors Van Tilburg, Samuel, Hunt, Carpenter, McCreary, Martin, Celeste, Caputo, Sullivan, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
Councilor Carpenter, I believe you have the resolution to put the separate items on from the committee reports on the floor. I think we only have two that.
I do, Mr. Mayor,
12.2.3
thank
and
you. So moved by myself and seconded by my wonderful ward mate, Councilor Linda Hunt, that all items in committee reports separated for discussion purpose be approved.
It's actually separated for discussion purposes. Right, okay. Thank you. Now we'll move to there's two items that have been separated. And the first one is the one that we have the delegations on. That's 12.2.3. So, any discussion? Councilor Scully.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Davis. And I'm going to ask that this vote be separated. A and B can be voted on together, but I would like C and D voted on separately from A and B. And if I may speak to that, I did watch, I wasn't here last meeting. But I think I have some concern with some of the language that was used and that it may be seen as a bit of fear mongering, and perhaps not completely accurate to what my understanding is of my reading on this bill. Is Bill 5 perfect? Absolutely not. And we did hear, especially at the AMO conference recently, that the province is intending to still continue to fine tune this piece of legislation, specifically surrounding Indigenous First Nations consultation. And I do have here some notes from Six Nations of the Grand River. They did have a council meeting recently where they put pen to paper on some of their issues, and they were nice enough to share that with us. So I just want to let everybody know that we've read these issues and these concerns, and we're going to continue to advocate for those issues and those concerns at a provincial level. But the duty to consult remains a constitutional requirement. It is not being removed. Bill 5 cannot and does not do that. But there certainly is some room for improvement there. When we talk about Bill 5 and what its intended purpose is, I'm interpreting this piece of legislation to be a bill that promotes Ontario's economic growth and simplifies the process, especially where infrastructure is concerned, by reducing the red tape behind the scenes. And when we say that we're reducing the red tape, we're removing duplication. The goal here is not to get rid of all of the rules and the requirement. The goal here is to stop treating every single project as if it's some great big mega mine project, and just looking at things constructively with a common sense approach. So in saying that, I think there's some room to improve this bill, but I don't think we need to be, I'm not on the record as saying that we are opposed to this as a city. So that's why I've asked for this to be separated. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to it as well. I just started setting my timer. Just make sure I don't take any more time. I hate this new timer. There we go. All right. So I as well am concerned that on this debate, there really wasn't a full and complete debate in the sense of all views being considered. And I have spent the time, I viewed the videos from last week, and I have reviewed the legislation 3 times over. I've read the preamble. I've read much of the material provided by the provincial government, and also got a sampling of what those who are concerned about this legislation, what they have to say as well. But I think these amendments need to be considered in the context of what's happening today in respect to the current trade and tariff situation. You know, and there's this sense of complacency that has crept in. Everything's fine. We've got CUSMA. Things aren't bad in Brantford. Maybe in Hamilton, it's pretty tough because they're being subject to the steel tariffs. Well, I've got to tell you, I hate to tell you that there is an economic storm coming, and we're just beginning to see it. We saw it last week with President Trump at the stroke of a pen did what's called derivative steel tariffs. That means that if you make something in Brantford that has steel in it that's come from a Canadian plant, you're now subject to a 50% tax at the border. And if it's 100% of what you have in skill in what you manufacture, say like a tractor, you're going to hit 50% tariffs selling your product into the States, and you can't even get steel from the US. They're completely backordered. That's a very serious threat to our local economy, to the economy across Southern Ontario. And now we're about to move into negotiating CUSMA, and that's what's saving a lot of manufacturers and industries in Brantford and throughout the province. CUSMA, that's the free trade agreement. I don't think that CUSMA is going to survive. I believe if you look at what Trump is doing, he's targeting us for special treatment in Canada, unfair treatment in comparison to other countries. I fully expect he's going to rip up that trade agreement. And if that happens, we folks are in serious trouble. It'll have a devastating impact on our economy across Ontario. And so I see that this legislation, I look at it on the basis that the provincial government, I think with due consideration, they're trying to establish and create a building block for our future prosperity to make us more resilient to what it is that President Trump wants to do to us. I think it's a key to making our economy more prosperous so that there's more people who are working, putting food on their families' tables, and that we're resilient to whatever it is that Trump wants to do. I see this as essentially streamlining. When you carefully read the legislation, it doesn't talk about eliminating all of the environmental and regulatory controls. It talks about streamlining it. Something similar to what we've done here in Brantford the last 4 to 5 years. We have streamlined our development process. When I look at the legislation carefully, I see it doing the same thing. And that's because the permitting process in Ontario has become so bureaucratic, so encumbered with red tape, that we are now one of the worst jurisdictions in the world to build something. Ontario is gaining a reputation as the can't build province, as a province where large economic development projects go to die. I'll give an example. In the European community, you can get approvals for a mine usually in about 3 years. In Australia, it's about 5 to 6 years. In Alberta and BC, slightly longer than Australia, less than 10. Ontario, one of the longest permitting approval processes in the world, more than 15 years. And we're the economy that once was the mining capital, hard rock mining capital of the world, and the Sudbury Basin, which has created over 100 years, hundreds of thousands of jobs, billions of dollars of tax revenue. And so I see Bill 5 as an attempt to kickstart our mining industry and what has made us famous in the world. And now we talk about, I hear about landfill sites. You realize 40% of the industrial and commercial waste that we produce in Ontario goes to Michigan and New York. President Trump, on a whim, could prevent us from exporting that waste into Michigan and New York. And what would we do? We'd be overwhelmed by garbage. And so this part of this bill, I think, is to make ourselves more resilient, protect us from what it is that Trump might do. If I look at what else is recommended in there, I see it eliminating a lot of duplication, and not only for large mining projects, but also important infrastructure, energy projects, transit projects. It's not intended for local projects. These are projects that have a provincial scale and impact. And to suggest that it would be used locally, I think is fear mongering and it's misinformation. I see nothing in the legislation that suggests that. And so I see this as creating economic opportunity for our province. I'd say one last thing. This resolution could end up costing our community tens of millions of dollars. We're making a pitch to the provincial government to allow us to use provincial right-of-ways, Paris Road, King George Road, to build sewers and pipes into the boundary lands. If we can't do that, and the bureaucrats are saying no, that's another $30 million in costs. We're also applying for a $20 million grant for the water tower. And, you know, common sense tells you if you're kicking the shin of the centerpiece of this government's economic agenda, how likely are you going to get those indulgences? And so this resolution, if passed, will be the only resolution like this by a big city in Ontario. I'm fearful of what it will have, the impact it'll have on taxpayers in this city. So with that, I am voting against these two amendments. And I'm encouraging council members, if you're concerned about our community and our taxpayers and our future prosperity, you consider doing the same. Any other discussion? If not, I'll call the vote. Yeah, we're gonna do A and B first, and then we're gonna do C and D. We're doing A and B right now.
Clauses A and B carries on a recorded vote of 10-1. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councilors Sless, McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councilor Sullivan.
And C and D.
Clauses C and D is lost on a recorded vote of 7-4. Members of council vote in favor. Councilors Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter. Members opposed, Councilors Sullivan, Sless, McCurry, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis.
All right, so we'll now move to bylaws. Well, first of all, we have two notices of motion. Can't forget. Oh, we do have resolutions, sorry. And we also have Councilor McCurry's conflict. So I'm going to call a vote. I'll call for discussion on 12.2.5. Any discussion on 12.2.5? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
Item 12.2.5 carries on a recorded vote of 9-1. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councilors Sullivan, Sless, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councilor Martin.
All right, so we have no urgent reports. There's two resolutions. Councilor Van Tilburg, if you could please move your motion and state your second. Resolution from the special in-camera city on the OLT matter.
A resolution for special in-camera session on August 26, 2025. Legal advice to settlement. That staff be authorized to enter into settlement with BSC Land Co. Inc. to resolve certain proportions of OLT file number OLT 24001085 on the basis that the city's zoning bylaw will be amended to change the portion of the property zone core natural to general employment GE with a holding provision that requires the updated environmental impact study EIS to define the limits and developable areas that would remain zoned general employment, with any lands determined to be non-developable returned to the core national areas in accordance with section 22.18 F of the zoning bylaw 124-1024.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
Item 14.1 carries on recorded vote of 10-1. Members of council voting in favor: Councilors Sless, McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councilor Sullivan.
And Councilor Samuel, you have a resolution, read the appointment of a hearing officer.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Van Tilburg that Ian Layden be appointed to the city's hearing officer for the administrative penalty system, and B, that the hearing officers previously appointed by other jurisdictions be appointed as the city's hearing officers for circumstances when Ian Langdon has a conflict, and that C, the appropriate bylaw confirming the appointment be placed on the bylaw listing.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Oh, Councilor Sullivan, go ahead.
It was my understanding that this is supposed to read that it's only until the end of this term of council, correct?
We can have staff clarify that, please.
Through the chair, Kim Jolly, city solicitor, that was requested during the special city council discussion. However, it didn't end up in the resolution. So there is an ability to amend the bylaw to include that language if that is requested of council by council this time.
You want to move an amendment?
Yes,
What's your amendment?
that it be until the end of the term of council. Seconded by Council McCrary.
So that would be the employment or appointment would be just for the term of this council.
Yeah.
All right. So any discussion on that amendment, Councilor McCreary?
Mayor, thank you very much. That was discussed earlier at 4 o'clock or thereabouts. And so this is somewhat contrary to our general procedures with respect to procurements of goods and services. There's an expedient need to do this now, which is why we're sole sourcing to the party that's referenced here. The amendment will guarantee that following the conclusion of this term of council, this appointment will no longer be in force, and that prior to that date, municipal staff will be directed to go to the market and obtain competitive bids in terms of providing this service to the corporation of the city of Brantford, which is our typical policy.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
The amendment to item 14.2 carries on a recorded vote of 10-1. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillor Carpenter.
So as amended, I'll call the vote.
Item 14.2 as amended carries unanimously on recorded votes 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillor Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis.
So on to notices of motion. Councillor McCreary, if you would read the title of your notice of motion.
I would gladly do that for you, Mayor. The title of the notice of motion is Highway 403 EDR signage upgrade and other actions.
And Councillor Hunt, if you'd read the title of your notice of motion.
Review of deputy mayor appointment.
All right, so we'll now move into bylaws. And as you know, since late last spring, we do one reading now. And I believe Councillor Martin, you have the motion to approve all bylaws.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move, seconded by Councilor McCreary. Bylaw 82 being a bylaw to convey the land behind 19 and 15 of the Strand Avenue. 83, 2025 bylaw to amend bylaw 70, 2010 being a bylaw to adopt various city of Brantford policies by amending corporate policy 12, corporate purchasing policy. 84, 2025 bylaw being a bylaw to approve the sale of city-owned lands at 11 Park Road South. 85, 2025 being a bylaw to establish a filing fee for the appeal committee of the corporation of the city of Brantford by amending bylaw 021-204 being a bylaw to fix fees and charges to be collected by the corporation of the city of Brantford for 2024 to 2027, and to make consequential amendments to chapter 465 of the municipal code, property standards, and bylaw 106-2017 being a bylaw to adopt health and safety standard 061 workplace security. 86, 2025 being a bylaw to amend chapter 26 boards and advisory committees, duties and functions of the city of Brantford municipal code being a bylaw to amend chapter 206 of the city of Brantford municipal code being a bylaw to amend chapter 326 of the city of Brantford municipal code being a bylaw to amend chapter 327 of the city of Brantford municipal code being a bylaw to amend chapter 329 of the city of Brantford municipal code being a bylaw to amend chapter 465 of the city of Brantford municipal code and being a bylaw to amend bylaw 106-2017 being a bylaw to adopt health and safety standard 061 workplace security. 87, 2025 bylaw to amend bylaw 14488, being a bylaw to regulate parking in the city of Brantford. 88, 2025, a bylaw to amend bylaw 3783, being a bylaw to regulate traffic in the city of Brantford, community safety zones. 89, 2025, bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of Brantford with respect to the meetings held on August 26th. 91, 2025, being a bylaw to adopt hearing officer for the city of Brantford's administrative penalty system. And 90, 2025, being a bylaw to appoint citizen members to various boards and committees.
Does anybody want any of these bylaws separated for discussion purposes? Seeing no such request. Oh, Councilor Carpenter, what would you like separated?
84 for voting.
Sorry, 84? All right, so we'll deal with all the bylaws except 84. And clerk, if you would please take the vote on all those bylaws, the balance of bylaws.
All bylaws not separated for discussion purposes carries unanimously on recorded vote of 10-0. Members voting in favor, Councillor Sullivan, Silas, McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel Carpenter, Mark Caputo, and Mayor Davis.
Councilor Carpenter, 84.
It is separated per vote.
Councilor Curry, do you want to speak to it?
I just wonder if there's a staff member here that could give us a brief overview of what that's about.
Through the chair to Councillor, it's Ray Petro, manager of real estate. So the bylaw goes back to a report that brought to council in June of 2024 and subsequently deferred to August of 2024, which gave staff permission to sell a handful of BSAR homes when they became vacant naturally. And that's what happened in this case.
That was direction given by staff some time ago to really continue the policy and practice that we've had in place for a number of years.
That is correct.
And to what end do the proceeds go, right?
To our housing reserve.
Which is used for?
Affordable housing and Mary's department.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Seeing no other discussion, I'll call the vote.
Bylaw 84, 2025 carries on recorded vote of 10-1. Members voting in favor, Councillors Sullivan, Silas, McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Martin, Caputo, Sakoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillor Carpenter.
Okay, while the clerk and I sign the bylaws, we'll do ward announcements, and I'll start with Councillor Samuel.
Thank you. So just have a few announcements. I wanted to acknowledge that the Eagle Place Community Association is holding their movie in the park tomorrow night at Tootla Park. And Huron Head Spikes will be doing a bike clinic starting at 7 p.m. before the movie Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie. Eastward Echo Place is also having a movie in the park on September 12th at 8 p.m. at Charlie Ward Park. And the movie there will be Wicked. I also wanted to mention that we're having a Ward 5 Community Safety Town Hall, and that's happening September 18th at 6:30 at Eagle Place Doug Snooks Community Center. And finally, I just wanted to talk a little bit about an event that I'm super excited about that's being put on by the Downtown BIA, and that is the Garage Urban Night Market on September 27th, 4 to 10 p.m. And that's happening at the Market Street Parkade, and it's going to be very exciting, and you won't want to miss that. Thank you.
Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. Just one, obviously Monday's a holiday coming up. Tuesday, the kids are back to school. I think it's very important that we take the extra time, give ourselves extra time to get to where we're going and look out for them because they're going to be in your way getting to work, and we want to make sure that they stay safe.
Counselor Hunt.
Thank you. So tonight we passed item 12.2.13, which is the advocacy for provincial scrap metal legislation. And so I'm just going to encourage all businesses to get involved in the second part of our advocacy, which is to start writing letters in support of this legislation to your MPP. And also wanted to thank our staff for a great job of the new accessible playground at Silverbridge Park, which we had a ribbon cutting with a whole bunch of the neighborhood kids that were yesterday. They all got a piece of ribbon, they all got some cake. And Mark, our resident clown and balloon artist was there. So it was a great event to reopen that park. Thank you.
Councilor McCreary.
Oh, Mayor, thank you. Well, Councilor Martin and I were just as happy as could be last week when the new water slide opened at Gretz. And Councilor Carper was there, Councilor Samuel was there, His Worship Mayor Davis was there to officiate the grand opening. Congrats to our staff and to the kids. It's a bunch of kids that celebrated the opening, and I think they all went down the water slide afterwards. It was made possible by a federal grant to the tune of about $600,000. And our staff were instrumental in landing that. And I suspect that perhaps MP Brock may have had a hand in that as well. So a great day for the Ward 3 community. Further to what Councillor Sullivan said about Labor Day, some stuff is open, some stuff's not. Earl Hague is open, Woodman Park is open, Gretzky Golf is open. But check the website for things that are closed as well. Transit changes are coming 31st August. Check the website for that. Paramedics, new office. I think they've taken possession of that now. The fall and winter fund guide is out. You can get a copy of that at this building or check it online. And last and certainly not least, congratulations to Max and Pete Byerly, who will be celebrating their 60th anniversary of Wedded Bliss this weekend. And those are my announcements, Mayor.
Councilor Martin.
Thank you. As Mayor of the Month, it was my duty to represent the mayor when he was unable to attend the event. One such event was the C2C walk for PTSD. And this is one that is very dear to me. As a first responder, I've known many colleagues that suffered PTSD, and some of them eventually succumbed and committed suicide. And we had two resolutions or proclamations earlier today. One was suicide prevention, and that speaks a lot to people who suffer from PTSD. And also one about fentanyl overdose. While not every overdose is a suicide, some of them are, especially if you were using fentanyl to cope with something like PTSD and not having much luck with it. It's quite easy to just increase the dose and end things. So it's something that we need to be on the watch for is people who are showing signs of PTSD, because if we catch it early enough, it can be cured. And former Councillor Weaver is evidence of that. He suffered from PTSD, and luckily he was able to recover from it. He didn't end up at the end of the dark road. So it's something that is very important that we all keep in mind. Keep an eye on your colleagues. You know, if you're in a profession where PTSD is a concern, and encourage anyone who is showing any signs to seek help and get answers. And the model for the PTSD group is never alone. And it's important that anybody that's suffering from PTSD get the help they need and not suffer alone, because that is the wrong way to go about things. If you can talk to people and get some help, things can be reversed and cured. So I just wanted to highlight that. And the group is doing amazing work, raising funds and raising awareness. And I just wanted to contribute to that by bringing it up here tonight. Thank you.
Councillor Sloss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mine have been announced except for, I guess, one, and that's the Bulldogs have their inter squad game this Thursday morning coming at 11 o'clock. It's they call it the Golden Black game, and they divide the participants into two groups, and they have a game, and it's It's open to the public and it's free to the public. So anybody that has time and a desire, they can get to the Civic Center on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock and see what we're going to be looking at for the rest of the season.
Councilor Caputo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So from Ward News, the BSNA had a very busy summer. They had their Alice in Wonderland picnic, movie night in the park. They had a fundraising yard sale, and their youth rep did a weekly story time in the park. They've been leading the Culture Days event at the end of September in partnership with Shallard and Eagle Place NAs. They'll also be hosting a teen night, D&D, and a dream catcher and diamond dot art workshops. Also, lawn bowling is well underway at the Gretzky Center, and if you haven't seen it, please drive by and take a look. It's actually a wonderful facility that's been built there, and having actually rolled the ball the day they actually opened it up, it was something completely different that I wasn't totally accustomed to. Take a look at it. It's certainly something that I think there should be a lot more memberships happening in that area, so please feel free and take a look. Also, the Glenhurst Art Gallery will be hosting their third annual Grand River Arts Festival, September 19th and 20th. This year, they'll have we'll have 2 Juno Award winners and various local and national artists and musicians. So please make it a point to be there September 19th and 20th. Thanks.
Councilor Carpenter. Councilor Secoli.
Yes, thank you. I want to wish all of the littles a very happy first day back at school. That is coming up. And I know that sometimes on the long weekends, people like to indulge in the use of fireworks. And I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that you are not allowed to do that in public parks. So please take care on how you are indulging in celebrating with fireworks. As far as what happened in the last month, the big news really was Lansdowne Children's Center had their official unveiling, and we did have a public meeting recently. And it's such an exciting and welcome new build in Ward 1 that we're thrilled to see move forward. So congratulations to Lansdowne. And that's it for me.
Councilor Van Tilburg.
Oh, one I rarely ever miss if I can ever afford it. Labor Day, the 69th annual Soap Hawk Race. Registration for the little ones is at 8 a.m. Racing starts at 9 a.m. And the thing that you need to spread the word on, if you're hearing this, is that the races are not on Icom Drive this time. The races are at the top of Elgin Street near Stanley. So hopefully if we have people available to direct people to the right place, if they go to the wrong place, that would be handy.
That brings to an end our August City Council meeting. Meeting's officially adjourned.